Alright guys, so welcome back to my CrossFit series. So today what we're going to look at is something a lot of people have trouble with. Okay, bar muscle ups. So bar muscle ups for me is something that can be done with some really simple basics, and a lot of the time they're often overlooked from a strength point of view because it's all, people just want to do the element. So looking at the bar muscle up, there's three main phases we need to think about. So there's the beat swing, and in my opinion, probably the most important part of the whole movement, because it's not just about what you're doing, but it's the position that you're in and where your power is coming from. So beat swing done properly is really, really effective. And the second part is the pull. So having the strength to do a good pull is crucial. So you see people who do continuous bar muscle ups, they've got sort of bent legs at the back and they're catching it quite low. And it's mainly because their beat swing position is not correct for greatest power production. So it's all about efficiency. So the more efficient you can be throughout those movements, the less energy you take, the more reps you can do, the better your bar muscle ups. So, and then finally the catch. So the catch for me is more of a just where you finish it and how much dip really you have to do at the end for a bar muscle up. So what I really want to look at today is we're going to break down the bar muscle up, and we're going to have a look at the crucial things that you need to be able to do in order to have a really effective bar muscle up. Okay, so first things first, the beat swing. Okay, so the beat swing, again, is, for me, it's all about that open position of the shoulders. It's about thoracic mobility, so having the mobility through the shoulders to get into that good open position. But then the snap comes through the upper body, so you get into a really good rounded position through the chest. A lot of the time people go wrong with beat swings is they don't get enough extension through the shoulders, so they end up bending their legs. So they're getting that range through the legs, which means the power can't come from the snap through the hip and the chest. It's coming from the kick of the legs, which is a lot less powerful. Okay, so we're going to look at some really important static position. So firstly, the dish position. Okay, so when people do the dish position, what we often see is they get sort of like a subtle arch through the lower back, and the inability to convert from this position to this position, that deeper rounded position, is really important. So if they haven't got that ability to do that, then they're going to find that they're not going to get the power from the right position. So just to give you an example, okay, so this is a dish position. Yep, so it's that hollow hold, right? So if you have got, so this is the feet and this is the arms. If you come through here, you've got hips are here, feet are up here. You've got sort of a straight position through that lower back, and then the arms come up. It's only subtle, but that slight open discrepancy is what's going to cause that basically breakdown in power. Okay, so the people who have the best bar muscle ups have a really strong beat, so they move from that open phase to that hollow position really, really efficiently. So this inability to hold that position creates a breakdown in the chain of power. So we talk about kinetic energy, we talk about the transfer of elastic energy. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to efficiently move through the kinetic chain using that elastic energy to get that big pull into the bar muscle up. So this core weakness through here makes people really susceptible to that break in the chain, which is why they're not getting that strong beat, which is why they don't catch quite high in their bar muscle up. So the first thing you got to learn is that static hollow position. The second thing we've got to learn is the static arch position. So it's the same principle, except for now we're facing downwards. So person's head is there, they're facing downwards, arms up here, feet up here. So big thing to look for in the arch, or the arch position, is if they've got sort of that high feet position, but their arms and head are down here, then they're not going to have that thoracic extension, so that mobility through the shoulders, which is what I was talking about at the start. So the ability to get into that good extension phase, or the strength to be in that extension phase, is super important, because if you're not going to be able to get into the extension through here, then that's when you're going to bend the knees to get that same rhythm, and you're kicking through the feet and you lose the power. Okay, so first thing we've got to do with our beat swing is we've got to be strong enough to hold a static hollow hold and a static arch position. Second thing we need to be able to do is we need to move through those positions dynamically. Okay, so we need to be able to go from a dish, open the arms fast, drop the feet and snap into that dish position, making sure that you're getting that good rounded position through the core. If you lose that, then that's where you're going to get that breakdown in the power transfer or through the bar muscle up. Okay? The third thing we then need to be able to do is we need to do it on the bar. Okay? So if you can't hold that position on the bar here, and instead of being here with that open position, you can't pull into that rounded position, so it's subtle, so it's here, that rounding position through here, then you're not going to be able to do it in a dynamic movement. Static first, dynamic second. Yep, so it's always important that you have that strength in that static position, and then you learn it through a full range of motion, and then you can apply power or velocity. If you don't have that strength through the full range of motion, then you're not going to be able to do the bar muscle up. Alright, so position on the bar. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at those bead swings now in relation to power transfer. Okay, so that's where this dynamic stuff comes in, really efficient moving of the feet down, up, open to close, really getting that rounding through the chest. Second thing we've really got to look at with the bar muscle up is the strength of the pull. Okay, so there's a lot of people that try and bar muscle up without having good strength in their pull. How do you get strength in your pull? Strict movements. So you need to be able to do a strict pull up. You need to be able to do a strict chest to bar, 4 repetitions. Okay, so starting here, getting up, pull all the way down to the chest, because then you know that out of a bead swing, you've got enough strength to get that big pull here, and then you end up catching it a lot higher. A lot of people see bar muscle ups and they're catching really low, or they're chicken winging, they're getting that arm over. It's because they don't have enough strength in the pull phase, or they've got one arm that's stronger than the other. So things like your lat pull downs, things like your straight arm pull downs, and then converting that into body weight stuff. So if you can do 10 strict to bar in a row, a strict chest to bar in a row down to here, you will have good bar muscle ups, because if you can convert that position and that power with that strength, that's what gets you up to the top of the bar, and you hit the top of the couch. Problem that people have is they haven't learnt the good positions, they haven't learnt the disc position, they haven't learnt the arts position, they don't have the thoracic mobility, then they can't, and they don't have that good core development, so they can't convert those beat swings into good power, which means then they don't have enough strength for the pull, so they're relying on swing. And you can't rely on swinging a bar muscle up, because it's all about that, like I was saying, that transfer of elastic energy and that dynamic movement. And if you've watched my other videos, they talk about basically the stability overhead components, the front raise, the upper pec fiber. So that all comes into it. But today's video is more just about how do I get from ground zero, what strength components do I need to be able to do a good bar muscle up. So once you can do those things, once you can hit the good beat swing positions, once you can hold those positions, hollow hold, arch hold, dynamic. So phase-wise, we're looking static, strength through the full range of motion, dynamic, transfer of power, and this then becomes a lot easier. So when you implement it into workouts, it's not, I've got to do 10 bar muscle ups. You've got, your movement is so efficient dynamically that you don't need to worry so much about basically the strength component of it, because you're more efficient. You're using that elastic energy and that kinetic energy transfer chain. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. So I hope everyone's going to be working on their strict movements. Tune in next week and we'll have a look at breaking down another CrossFit movement.